didn't prepare any slides, so I will just share my screen. Yes, I'm lazy. I will just share my screen, and my topic is about Charles, how we can use it in mobile testing. So what is Charles? Charles is a HTTP proxy and monitoring tool with possibility of SSL proxying. So website to get this application, charlesproxy.com. There is a quite good documentation on this website where you can find any description of features, any settings that you can set up, and so on. Also, Charles have a client for Windows, Mac, and Linux. You can use a trial version or buy a license. So let's begin. First of all, I would like to show you how to set up your Charles and the connect device to your application. Yes, I'm using the trial version, so we need to wait some delay. So this is Charles. To use SSL proxy, first of all, you need to download a certificate and install it into your Mac. So it can be done by choosing help, proxy, how it's SSL proxying, and you can choose here install Charles root certificate. It will be prompted you to, so as I already had it, I just opened this key, but it will be prompted to you to install it, and once you're done, that's pretty it for SSL proxying. Also, for to connect your device, you need to choose access control setting and enter IP address of the device, or just all zeros, and it's allowed to connect anyone to your Charles instance. For SSL proxying, also you need to go to SSL proxying settings and enable it, and add. There is several possibilities. You can add a specify host, or for example, just enable all. In our case, let's enable all. Okay, so now we can start with device connection. Let me share my device screen. Is it seen? It's fine? Okay. So first of all, to have a connection to your Charles installed in Mac, you need to have your device and your Mac in one network. Then you need to set up your network in your device and set up a manual proxy. So here you need to set a port of Charles. So by default it's all 8, and the server. And a server is IP address of your Mac. To make it easy, you can look these settings here. So here you can see what you need to put into your device to have a connection. Then you need to download a certificate, SSL certificate to your device. So it can be done by Charles website. So here, as you can see, we can using this website. Allow. Let's choose. So we download a profile. Then we should open settings and go to general. Now we see profiles. As I previously already set up it, I have it. But for new one, you need to install it. Then for new iOS, you also need to go to General, About. Then the last point is certificate trust settings. And you need to allow this child's proxy SSL certificate. So that's pretty it for connection. So I would like to show you how to use Charles based on one application. It's a car application. You may face it. It's a car sharing application, and let's begin. So here you can see which API calls goes when we open our application. By the way, you can see them as a structure or as sequence. It depends on your needs. So in sequence, it's better to see the duration, sounds, and the sequence itself. But let's choose structure. So as you can see, many hosts are used as a Crashlytics, iTunes, and so on, so on, so on. So to filter this, you can open recording settings, and there is a tab include, and just set up what host you would like to see in your Charles. In our case, let's have eCar, and let's have one Amazon servers with car images. So to set up this, you can just choose the protocol, host, port. In my case, I choose the pass and query all. So let's enable them. Let's clear our, and now you can see when we open in our application, we will be having only hosts that we specify in our filter. Regarding eCar, we have two servers. It's Obelix and Asterix. Obelix, it's just a common settings for application. It's a country settings and so on. And Asterix, it's a profile data and map data. Profile data, it's all about customer. In our case, it's me. And map data, it's all about our cars available in our place. So let's see what we can do. Here in Overview tab, you can see URL, status, response code, how many time it took to get a response, and so on. Also size. But you also can see content. In our case, it's a JSON body. So here you can see a list of cars available near us. So what we can do with this information? First of all, you might check what you get from your server and check how your application can handle this information. Or, for example, without changing anything on your server, without changing any configuration, you can test, for example, some values that might change and so. So in our case, we have a Ford Escape near us. This is this car. And you can see by here that the fuel level is 99%, its latitude, longitude, and its pricing, and so on, so on, so on. So let's try to change our response. To change our response, there is several possibilities to do it. First of all, I would like to show you breakpoint. So to set up a breakpoint, you can easily do a right click and click breakpoints. So now our breakpoint is available. To see some breakpoint settings, you can go to proxy and breakpoint settings, and here you can specify what you need. So, for example, in my case, we no need to intercept a request. We just need to intercept a response and change it. And let's have a query, just all. Okay, we enable it, and let's see what happens when we trying to. So our response is intercepted. Here we can change whatever we want. Let's edit a response. For example, let's change 99 to some incorrect value and execute it. So here now you can see that fuel level, we change it, and let's see how application can handle it. So if you can see, our direction becomes 100. So this case is handled by our application. So for example, we can also do some changes. Let's say it will be not int, let's say it will be string. Execute. So now we have 99 as a string, and if we open our car, we see that we have no fuel level at all. So this case cannot be handled by car application. So by this changing of your response, you can test whatever you need, whatever test design, test approaches you might have. Also, you can test your application not only changing body, you can change, for example, a status from 20 to 500. Let's see this possibility. I will show it by another way. Another way of editing your request or response is a rewriting. A rewriting tool is working automatically, so no need for you to intercept a response and manually change something. You just may set up a rules, and while executing your request and response, these rules will be applied to your data. So I prepared one rule. I call it to profile. So let's change our profile response from status from 200 to 500 and with empty body. So here we need to specify our host, what will be intercepted and automatically rewritten. And here we can specify any rules we want. So for example, here I choose a response status. So here you can see a list of rules. Let me show you here. Yes, a list of rules that can be edited. In our case, it's response. Here, value. This is initial value that we need to intercept, and this is value that we want to replace. And for body, let's set up this rule. Using regex, we will choose all body and replace it just by empty curly braces. Let's enable this rewriting and let's see what will happen. So as you can see here, our profile call is not successful. Response code is 500 and the content just empty curly braces. By the way, when you edit in something in your calls, there is additional column nodes that can help you to understand what is happening. So in our case, we are rewriting status and body to our specified values. Also, so let's disable this. Right tool. Also, in our case, we can map our response by two ways. We can use map remote. So if you have any test server or local server, anything, you can map a response from your API call to this server. Or another way, you can map to local file. So let's try with mapping with local file. So in our case, I prepared just this file, test response.json, and in our case, when I will be mapping map call, the content of our file will be sent as a response. Let's see. So you can enable it here, and let's see what the rule I put. So I want to map all response from this path. So it will be asterisk prod ecar io map data to my local file. And let's see what will happen. Just a second, let me share my screen. Okay. So, as you can see, we change our map data, and now content is what I prepare. In our case, for example, I change a fuel level by -0. Let's see. As you can see, this case also cannot be handled by application. So by doing this, you can specify whatever you want. You can do your changes with as request, as response. You can map anything. You can map not even JSON. You can map, for example, let's show you. For example, some pictures. Let's see what we have here. So here we have pictures of car, and you can see here that we are downloading them. So it's hard to see, but yeah. So you can map any data and see how your application can handle it. Okay, let me show you one more possibility. So by proxying, you can limit your connection and see how application can handle these cases. So it's called throttling, throttle settings. So here, already some setup are present. So you can choose speed of modem, or you can specify your own. So let's say, for example, 10 and 10 for uploading. Let's see how our application can handle a poor connection. So as you can see, it took a more time, and our application becomes almost unusable. By throttling connection, you can test such cases, for example, as payments, where connection and where good connection is. It should be because, for example, when you lose your connection during payment, it might lead to any unexpected behavior. Yes. So also, what we can do, we can use a block list, so you can block any request you want, and see how it can be. Let's disable our throttling. Also, you can use DNS spoofing, you can use allow list, and so on. So there are many features, and in general, Charles can be used not only for mobile testing, but it's just as a proxy and can be used as an advanced dev tool. We can enable Mac OS proxy, and as you can see now, for example, let's go to our chars and update it, and here, oh, sorry, I disable, yes. So you can see that we might use it as just as dev tool. That's pretty it, what I would like to tell you. So if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer.
This tool actually pretty cool, I think, because I was about to investigate more about
Yeah,
the tool.
yeah.
You kind of did the job, so. Just a quick one. If you can show again, most probably I need it for taking the data I want
Yes.
to see my app. So it's so basically you have a file separately on your computer, right?
Yes.
With whatever data you want to show and see how it behaves. And in the channels you go to proxy and then where?
I go to tool. So first of all, I prepared this test response JSON.
Yeah, just so, yeah.
Because I would like to map this JSON so you can see it here. You can put whatever you want here.
Yeah.
Then you should choose tools, map local, enable it. And here, for example, you can choose what host, what call to what host you want to map.
Okay.
So here, in our case, we specify our map data. And here, in settings map tool, we just choose a file, what we want to use as a mapping. Okay, and now we see our map data.
Cool, thanks.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So the tool looks good. So I have a question, like, can it be integrated with the code? Like, can it run in the CA convention?
No, I believe no, but you can save your session and use it, for example, in another tool. So, for example, if you find a bug, you can save your session and just attach it to your ticket or whatever. Or
I understood. What my question was, the tool we are using in Mac or Windows. Right?
Yes.
So in the CA pipeline, we will have a Unix machine in which Android like PM is running. Can we do something in the code so that we integrate with this tool using some key session?
No, I believe no. But for CI, so? What the case you would like to use it in CI?
For example, if I want to mock a API, if I want to get the response as an empty response, what to get? If I want to simulate the same thing, same error scenario in the CI, can you do this with this tool?
Should be more about, you are asking about automating, right?
Yeah, more about automating the stuff which you are doing in CI.
But anyway, you should have a server. So one of the possible solutions, you can install this tool on your server and just open it. For automation, I believe there are many other tools you can use. Yeah.
So
this is just for it mostly for
exploratory tests.
Yes. Ad hoc.
Because the intent of this tool is more about debugging and towards that side, like
Yes.
not about towards that testing. Like if you have to mock the data with a 500 or something, it's better to call the REST endpoints and just mock it with the REST endpoints to REST assure serenity, whatever you want to use.
But in our
the intent, like to integrating with the CI thing, but the intent of the tool is like to debug or to try to find, like mostly like in our company we use mostly for the debugging point of view rather as a testing tool, rather as a debugging tools, like some sort of a fake data, how it will be behave, what will happen if I read intercept there are like I don't know. I have a question for you. Like, can we use this tool for as you mentioned, like it's an advanced dev tools we can use, right?
Yes.
So can we use in an offline mode? Like I don't know exactly. Like there are customer projects where we deploy the web app in an offline mode. Like there is no internet, and can we use this tool in an offline mode?
Yes,
Of course,
you
it's
can.
inside the network.
Yes, you can specify, for example. Where is it? Just a second. As a port forwarding, for example, or your DNS. Yes, if your
It behaves as a proxy. So
if your
this is
client
just
use
your local IP,
yes.
your some port, and you can attach to it from any device inside your network. So it doesn't have to be connected to the internet or something.
Yeah.
From my side, just simple question: how I can avoid visiting ad-hoc petrol stations to use this hack to fuel my car?
Yeah.
Overall, that's a great demo. I think we can applause for Kirill. It's really good job.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.